Okay, I was on one of them crazy games that says it doesn't allow streaming, so fuck that. Okay, I was on one of them crazy games. That's a bunch of fucking bullshit. Most people stream a game today.
Conquer.
If you're that stingy with your game, don't put one out.
Fuck local.
We got a bunch of old fogies today. Change the way things at work. And they may not like that, but that's the way things are today. So, fuck them when they're that way.
Baraka.
And they be that way if they want to. But you're also, you can be inclusive to your little group that believes like that.
Tournament.
I despise ghosts. Return to the 10 hells.
Round 1. Fight.
The fuck you attitude was the attitude I got from rock and roll. Me otherwise.
Round 2.
But I just say we live in a world of bullies and brutes, so I'm gonna just say fuck you. And it might not. Bullies and brutes. You gotta cry tough out in the streets to make your dreams happen. I've made a lot of people dislike me because of that attitude, but I don't regret having it. In the world, you got to. That's something I did pick up from my daddy. He just was more respectful about it. Where I took the rock and roll approach.
Finish him.
Not even regret it, even though it does feel Christ-like.
There are a lot of things.
I don't want to be ways walking, Matt.
Round 1.
Nobody's walking, Matt. I may get beat up like a dog and like a non-human, subhuman, but I'll just accept it. And thus, you really with me. Because even if you killed me, you still didn't win, because I still didn't submit. Thus, I would win. Even if you took my life, I'd still win. I'm not talking to you. I always have various different people. And see who.
Fight.
Regret he said it on his deathbed. Why didn't I start mom? 2 days before he died, he was having a conversation with me about things and about how he was. I was sitting there just listening.
Fight.
He said, I made millions of dollars managing other people's company. Why didn't I start my own? Ropes in this world and all this other stuff. The cutthroats. I just mix film with. And sometimes I regret it, but I'm not going to.
Finish him. Baraka wins.
That's why I keep cracking open a Bible and not giving up hope. But then I get my moments where that bird finger's up and it don't care.
Round one, fight.
Good weekend. Yesterday I woke up for a little bit. Just laid around and looked at the phone, some of it, and then I fell back asleep. I woke up with something evil lurking in the dark. He's done it again. Shower. Never got my shower because, like I said, I slept most of the day. Go to sleep. What I do is somewhere in between a shower, though. I mean, it would be in between a shower and a bath. I have one of them stoves, like a triple piece. And I used to actually use the shower in my ears. So now I sort of improvise that water thing. And then I have this bucket I rinse with. And I only use the shower when I'm actually washing hair. Because it will get in my ears and it makes my ears hurt really bad. A real bad thing.
Shadows do not play.
So sort of like a coke challenge where you're dumping a bucket over you
Fight.
a gazillion times. And rinsing all your soap off. I call it the in between the bath and the shower. But now washing with these, well, I guess we're taking showers, same thing. So we're just using the faucet instead of the shower head. But it's running like that. And I finally wash all the soap off of me with the bucket. The final rinse. It's like in between a bath and a shower.
Round.
I need to come up with a word for it. Not really a bath. It's not a sponge bath. Just correct. I don't know what to call it. It's just like you're taking a shower instead of the shower head. I don't even know how I got on that discussion. Oh yeah, I gotta take a shower when I get through. But I wanted to at least get some gaming in. Just been, what was it, Friday? That was Friday.
Baraka wins.
Rowdy weekend. I don't handle heat too well, y'all. It's only 60 something outside right now, so the room pretty much hasn't cooled down any. Heater. Other the prison cell, I like to call it my brick prison cell. This thing is just I can get out. I wouldn't be able to get out. These boxes here in the television, you'd have that much space open up. I'm hoping to get a little space back when if I ever get that desk. I'm just about ready to give up. Of course, it's not really deliberate. I'm about ready to give up and just buy one already pre-assembled and then pick it up and then move everything and put it TV up. It goes for $200 now, so it wouldn't be like it'd be a waste of money. I could probably... It was worth $200 then if you had it bought it put together. I just bought it unassembled. I think you can find it for $25 anymore. I think it's $200 unassembled.
Baraka wins.
You know, back and it made things easier. Now it's just all my muscle. If I can get these on my floor or anything. If I get down to the floor, I can't get up. You know, it was one of, what was his name? Jake the Snake Robert. They helped him with that problem. He couldn't get down. I actually watched that video. And I was thinking, boy, I really need that. Somebody to teach me to get back up. I haven't been able to do that since a kid, this teenager. Because I hurt my leg and I had to recover from that. And when I never got my knee back. But even in the past I could get down, but now that I've gotten older, I can't get down anymore.
Fight.
If it's something floor level, forget it. If I can't do it from sitting in a chair and doing it, I can't do it. If you got to be down on the floor and me as tall as I am, I can't reach the floor already, so in a chair. So I just have to, anything that has to be done on the floor, I can't do it. That's one of my disability niches. I would really need training. And I'll never have training because I don't have that kind of money.
Barrage wins.
And I'm sure there are little programs they may pay for it. I don't know. I ain't never checked into it. I just wrote it on one of them things that I just can't do. I mean, there's things I can do, things I can't do. And I put getting down on the floor one of the things I can't do.
Round one. Fight.
Indeed, I made the mistake a couple of years ago. The last time I done it. My cat, he wanted me to get down, he wanted me to pet him, and I wasn't able to pet him, so I scooted down on the floor. I sat down and played with him for a while. And then I had the misery of trying to get myself back up. I like to never got back up. We had an old recliner back here. We got a new one now. Boy, I really wasn't doing it. It's just a smaller one. That one was kind of bigger. If I grabbed that thing and pulled myself up, I'd probably go over with me. That one about did. It was just bigger. And finally I did after probably about 40 minutes on the floor trying to get up. And I ain't got down since, with the exception of the time I fell when I came in the door. And boy, I didn't about get up that day. Indeed, I couldn't even hardly get up with the recliner. My mother finally brought me something. What was it she got me? And I finally was able to use her big, strong table chair she has. Oh, that she got at a sale with you know the motels when they put down that good stuff for sale? It's real heavy. You can't hardly lift the thing. And I was able, between it and the chair that she brought me in here, I was able to somehow pull myself up. I don't even know how long that was. It took me 40 minutes to get up that time I got on the floor. And I'd done that many a times. Stayed with.
Finish him.
But that one day I couldn't get back up. So I just don't get on the floor anymore. If it's something I got to be on the floor, can't do it. Can't do it. I bought me a keyboard stand and it was the same thing. And my mother never could get it together. She was having trouble. She has hand problems. Of course, my hands are kind of worse than hers. So I probably wouldn't have been able to done it. Maybe between the both of us we could have done it.
Fight.
But I couldn't get down there, so. Of course, a lot of mine is my fat hand. I can't do a lot of things with my fat hand.
I will destroy you.
Of course, they're smaller. I used to be a big man. A huge man. Years, by the way. Those are the worst years of my life. And the best years of my life, because that's when I was going to see Hinder and all of them. The worst and the best.
Final round. Fight.
People say, oh, quit eating won't help you. You got problems that's bigger than eating, it ain't gonna help you. Now, I might for a regular person. I rarely get extras and stuff anymore unless I get really sick or hungry.
Finish him.
Did I do it? I finally beat him. 22 minutes to beat that sucker. And I'm gonna tell you another thing about the not eating thing. Here's the kicker about that. You ever starve yourself to lose that weight? The minute you start eating again, if it's not done exactly right, and that too, it's gonna fight against you. And the minute you start eating, it's gonna come right back, and it's probably gonna be worse than it was. You can mess your metabolism up and all that other stuff if it ain't done exactly right. Oh, I retried. I didn't want to retry. We done played. Now, I was lucky about some things. My first 20 pounds, I decided to do cut back some. And I was able to keep it off, and then I did some things to help lose it. Like I did little small exercises that I could do. And then I started doing this thing where I was doing boxing. I hurt my hands worse than crap. Boxing was the best thing I ever did, but the worst thing I ever did is I got my hands hurt. I loved the boxing. It was one thing I could do. There's a lot of stuff I'm not flexible. There's a lot of things I can't do. I could do boxing. Boy, I had the adrenaline. I felt it. I loved it. I was doing it 3 times a day. I'd go out in the morning, do a round. I'd go after supper in the evening, and right before I go to get ready to close the day, I was going out and I was doing a few minutes a day. And it was just like a few minutes. But that 3 times a day was stress on my knuckles. I did lose another 25, 30 pounds of that. And I finally got out of that 300 pounds. And then that last leg, we had this real... This is before our window got broke. We had a fully enclosed porch. It was sort of like... in one of its panels got busted during either a storm or somebody done it. Either one, we don't know to do. That was real bad storms that night, but I don't know whether somebody deliberately done it at night. We used to have a full enclosed porch. I'd go out there and I'd set my karaoke up, walk back and forth on it like it was a stage, sit down for a few songs, get back up, walk around a little more, sort of like how I do with Turnbuckle now. Except I had this porch was huge. So it was sort of like walking around at a big concert stage, and I'd only do it for a few songs, so it was so hot out there. There's no air, and it was I would open the door and let the air come through, and then you had some fans, of course. You would run fans. It was so hot in there that I'd sweat, and I lost the last 25 pounds of that doing that, just doing that karaoke in that hot porch. No exercising. That's what I would do, man. Since I'm like kind of lying there, because I had this thing where I'd go out and I'd take my weights and I'd do that little bit of weights. I do. And mine they're 2-pounders, 3-pounders, 5-pounders. If I tape them all together, I have total 10 pounds. Not even supposed to lift 10 pounds. But I have a total of 10 pounds of weight. Normally I stick with the 2 because I like them the best. And I'd do it, and I'd sit there and rest for about 25-30 minutes. Then I'd get up and I'd start doing karaoke. Go and get me some water. I always had to keep going in and going and get bottles of water. But I sweated that last 25 pounds. I got myself up in the 290s doing that. Most of it come off with the boxing. The weights took a little bit off, but it didn't take much. Like it took me from the, what was it, the 65 that I got down to about 50. Then I did the other 30, 40, 30. Yeah, I did the 20. And then I did the other 20, which got me down to the 15, 20 in the 290s. And then I hit a plateau there. So for COVID, got me down to the 280s. And the last I weighed was 289. So I'm getting right back up to the 290. So that's what I'm talking about. You eventually get that back if it ain't done right now. Luckily, I'm still at the 289. It was. I need to check it now. I don't know. We'll find out. I'll be praising Jesus again if it still is. You know, I told you I'd be praising Jesus. Because there was some weeks there I didn't do nothing at all hardly. And I thought, surely goodness, I was back in that 300. And I wasn't. And I praised Jesus. It's like, hallelujah, Jesus, you kept me out of the 290s. By one. That's what I was thinking. That's my biggest fear, because I was 345 in 3rd grade.
Shao Kahn does not enlist; he conscripts.
345 in 3rd grade.
Fight.
Weight's probably quite right. Sweat off enough and got in a hot environment. That stuff is kind of strain on the body. There's people that does it, but it's strain. The boxing, you see, I just get carried away with that boxing. I think I did, what was it? 6 to 9 minutes per round. I mean, that day, 3 times a day. So I was getting 9 minutes, 9 minutes, and 9 minutes. But it was bad on my knuckles. Not like a shadow box. You'd probably get the same motion. You're gonna be hitting the bag. The problem is I get bored when I do that. But when I got a kick out of hitting the bag. But when I shag and I don't feel the friction, and because I don't feel it, I go. I get bored. My body would get the same workout. I wish I could simulate in my head. You know, like some of this gaming and stuff, it's all simulation. I wish I could simulate in my head without going into goggles and fake worlds, all this other stuff. Like do it remote, like sort of like the stuff they talk about, ninja stuff and Jedi stuff, where use the Force, Luke. But unfortunately, I do that just a few minutes. I'm bored. And I give up and I quit. Just imagine if I could do that, what, 25, 30 pounds I lost, and I could do that again, I could probably get to my goal where I want to be, just the size of a normal man at 6'3". I could probably do it real quick if I had the way to do it without starving myself, because that's not going to happen either, especially with this diabetes.
You can.
But then the diabetes might straighten out if you got normal. I don't know. It's happened. People do it. They tell you, you got it forever, but that's bullshit. They're lying. They're lying. They just want, you know what they really wanting when they tell you that? They're wanting to keep you on that medicine. Because Big Pharma wants you to be sick forever. Big Pharma wants you to be sick forever. So they profit from it. And then you're just their cash cow. You lose all your limbs. And of course, I think a lot of that has to do with the testing, too. I refuse to do it. And I have been fined, with the exception of the time I about lost my toe.
Right.
That's because I let a stupid callus about break off.
Just begun, Kitana.
And that lady explained to me when I went to the foot doctor, she said, when you get hurt there, so it don't matter if you're an athlete, whatever you are, them things are hard to heal. But she said, you having the diabetes, that makes you even worse. Big Pharma wants you on their pharmaceuticals for the rest of your life. They cook up reasons for you to take them, and then that creates another reason, and then you have to have a drug to treat that reason, and then etc. And it just keeps going and going and going. Then you're on a bunch of bags of pills, and to the day you die, the day they put you in the ground, and they're leeching off your soul, sort of like them parasites that get in your body and feed off of it. Big Pharma is a parasite. And it wants to do the same thing with the vaccine.
I will execute you.
Round 2. Fight!
It wants to be a parasite. I don't have no Superman dreams. I just want to be normal. I don't want to be some big old muscular dude or supermodel. I just want to be normal because I was always a big, gigantic kid that everybody fat and that made fun of. You know, there is a day that is coming if I make it, because I do doubt on myself at times. But then I just remind myself of the salvation is permanent. But at the same time, I'm too scared to let myself completely go because I'm afraid I'll be somebody's schmuck.
Fight!
I have some good heroes that's teaching me otherwise on that. And I watch everything they do. Sort of like the kids, but see, I don't know any better because I didn't see any better. My daddy, he was a fighter. They stuffed him in lockers and bullied him around, and he became a fighter. And he put a lot of that in me. So I mixed him with rock and roll, like I was talking in the beginning. No, as I'm not completely a clone of my daddy.
Finish him!
Which is who I really should have been inspired by, not television.
Kitana wins.
Not television and radio. That's why you really should protect your family from all this garbage. Goes all the way back to the saying, Jesus telling people to watch what they put in their eyes and their ears. And I remember that guy that was the ex-rock and roller and old John Ankerberg, and they was selling that verse, and I thought, well, God, I can handle it. I was early, 13 and 15. I was early in. I could have got out. So I thought, Lord, I can handle it. And then years later, I heard the verse again. I found the program on YouTube. And I heard it again years and years later. I thought, well, Lord, I screwed that one up, didn't I? You can see some of the same stuff when they sold their shows to rock and roll. It might have been the DVD they was selling back then, I don't remember. You see, he was coming on John Ankerberg's program. No, one good thing with Guide, you never completely screw up. Because he can turn anything around at any time. But see, you already have to do the struggle. And you went through unnecessary pain that you wouldn't have had to went through. But I guess in the end, I guess that's the path he was meant to take. Because maybe he was trying to teach you something along the way that he actually gave you the freedom to make that choice. But young people, I would tell the young people not to sneer at that when you hear it, and you will. Because I did.
It is not your day.
Final round. Fight.
It's one thing to not hear it and not be told it. It's another to hear it and just think you can handle it. That did keep me away from a lot of things, and I'm thankful for that. But there's a lot of that darkness that I didn't absorb. But you know, there's people who went through very, very bad paths during rock and roll. Things that I probably might have gotten myself into. You never know. I'm kind of stubborn. But then I might have also got into it had I not had those warnings. So it wasn't a complete waste. Woo, I done it. It wasn't a complete waste. I mean, there's people get some full-blown Satan worship and everything else.
Wins.
But I think God was just shouting, hey, hey, don't go that way. Even then. And I was, Lord, I like it. Okay, well. I think I'm going to get off. I've done 40 minutes. I'd like to do a little bit of GTA. Let's see if I can do a little bit of GTA before I go out there. I'll try to get off these crazy conversations. Having a night. Oh, I'm in the Alps. I was in the Alps instead of the games. The GTA before I get out of here. If I'm boring somebody with my conversation, I'm sorry. That's the way you get with me. You get life and video games. When I'm telling you my life while I'm playing my video games. The things I've learned, the things I've experienced. My experience. Best thing though is to keep dwelling in that Bible, and I try to keep that going. I got to pick back up. I'm almost out of the book of Matthew. I've been doing 3 chapters a day on that, with the exception of the days I sleep. Or I'm out of town, or I'm out of the house, and sometimes I'll do it then. Like I'll do it before I go to bed or something, so I don't always lose it. When I was working on them songs, that was probably my biggest distraction of a day or two. Because sometimes it'll take me all day to do those. I'm getting better at it though. I'm going to tell you, these last ones I made, I went in there and I made some new mixes out of them. I had the mixes almost even. One song's off. And I did notice it, but I'm blind, so I didn't really notice it at the time. But then when I looked at the dials, I thought, oh God, that one ain't going to sound right. Them dials wouldn't set right on my little tracker. And I knew it was going to be off because my dials wouldn't set right. I didn't have the exact level. That is something I'm going to try to stick with, even though I'm going to go maybe with some different EQs. I haven't decided on that. Because the one that I had that was all the same EQ, it was okay. But I just wasn't happy with some of those songs. some of those songs in that EQ setting. So I'm thinking I went and made some tests right before I fell asleep. And I had to let them go through the process, and I had to re-download them back so I could listen to them. I didn't get to the listening part. But I did listen to them as soon as I got something to eat, and I took my last medicine for the day. And I come in here and I listened to them right a little bit before I went gaming. Scrolled the internet some, Pinch, Facebook, and Twitter. And I have come to the conclusion that I may end up, even though an album's supposed to be a song of albums, it's in the same, because my music is so diverse. I think the better EQs work with certain songs that didn't work with the other songs. Like the more rock songs and one EQ sounds better in. But them that are kind of in between some kind of spacey or poppy sound, sort of like some out of this world digital spacey sound, is poppy sound. Poppy, I don't know how to explain it. It ain't really pop because I'm never gonna popular enough to be pop. I mean, I don't even sound poppy. I sound sloppy, but it's more, in other words, it's not rock and roll like rock and roll. Let's keep the she-devil in her lingerie today. I'll let her walk around in her underwear. It's not the kind of rock and roll that, like rock and roll. Like the other two songs are rock and roll. These other two songs are, and that one was even more crazy. She needs a bounty.
Yo, dude.
Hey, what's happening with it, pimp? You know who it is.
Yeah, but I'll deal with you later. Poppy songs, the spacey songs. But I'll probably go with another setting on the grungy metal songs. How many of these poppy songs I'm gonna have, but we'll see. We'll see as I get done. I'm not seeing good tonight. Well, I can see good, but I'm not seeing good. In other words, it's not like the worst seeing problems I've had in my life, because I've been almost completely blind at one time. But it's pretty, I wish I'd still be there when she come out, but it won't be. I like that. I'd take that and drive that. That's nice. I may just say fuck that and leave this thing be and not get the money and take it. I like the color of that thing. I'm just gonna say fuck that and take it. Let her drive this for a while. Then I'll steal her another car later and get her some money. It caught my eye the minute I seen it. I guess in some ways I'm like the people that like the cars too. Just I can do without the noise. I can do without the noise. But you know, you wouldn't have to drive them with that sound anyway, so if you had one and if it was loud, you could probably go improvise and make it not so loud. I don't like anything noisy. I mean, unless it's music. And even music I'm picky about. If it gets, like say extreme loud, I don't like that.
You owe me $20. Sounds good.
I like my music to right, but I don't like too loud.
Hey, what's up? Hey.
Indeed, that's one thing I'm learning with these mixes here. You know, I've always read that. And they go on about all them new albums today and they push them up. I'm kind of liking the mediums and the lows better when they come back than the louds. Even with this new project I'm working on. Even though In the past, I've always pushed my stuff loud. I mean, I think when you play it back in the radio, even though the loud kind of seems like it would be more appealing, when you play it back in the radio, it sounds much cleaner when it's at a minimum. I don't like too low either, because you get something that's too low, and you got a little radio or little speaker, that too low makes a difference. But if it's just right, a medium, or maybe just right loud, not too loud but just right, you get better mileage, say, on the beats and the music and the way it sounds than it does when it's louder. Because when you see what I'm saying? But you're hearing the details. Like, that's what I've noticed some of these new tracks tonight. That's what I was talking about when I was using the different EQs for the different styles. I was noticing some things that it was bringing out better in the mixes than it was at the other setting that would have been the full album. You see, even though the other setting was good, it didn't work for them beaty songs like it did the rock songs. So I'm going to, because it's a different type of album, I'm thinking about improvising, and I'm taking mental notes right now. And I'll write them down before I go to bed. I've already took my mental notes just by listening to them. But I'll write them down before I go to bed, because I am really thinking about that. Going with the other mixes. I mean, it's the same mix, but I mean, it's different EQs. I'm going through there and giving the different EQs. With the help of LAI technology, of course, but it does its thing. But see, I'm still having to work and have to do it. So I have to go in there and I have to do the waiting and the listening and deciding whether I want that or not. Deciding that's what I want for my album and the way I want it to sound. I still got to go through all that work, so it ain't completely robotic. Only the work of the song has been done to the robots. I've got to do all the deciding. And so all I can do is play it back in my speakers in my car and decide whether I like that or not. And that's another test that has to go through too now. If I don't like it how it comes out of the car. You know, it's so funny because I did that back when I first started. I'm talking about even karaoke recordings. And then I read years later, one of my favorite guitarists, and the drummer too of Pantera, when Dimebag or the other one, Vinnie Paul, wanted to test something out, guess where they went to test it? The car. That's where I always test mine. I even done my karaoke recordings like that. When I'd make karaoke recordings, if I didn't like how that thing sounded in the car, I went back and re-recorded it. I mean, I can remember back when I was doing the World of Madness. There's this one, I was working on that in September and October and November. There's this one time I was listening to I had several takes of the World of Madness karaoke recordings. And I was sitting working. That one's working. That's not working. I like that one. It's a keep. I mean, it's always the car where I always do my final test. But these radios, they can be, you don't like it. But when you're hearing it come in 4 speakers, 2 in the back, 2 in the front, 4 speakers, you know you like how it sounds. I'm tearing the car all to pieces. Of course, now Pantera and them was around while I was learning how to be a karaoke singer. And even before. But now, I didn't have the internet till 2001, so a lot of stuff I found out about bands, unless it was one of those I really followed, and I bought magazines on, and I collected everything on them, which that was very rare at that time. Guns N' Roses and Nirvana were two of those. It was very rare. Skid Row was another one. I used to like keeping up with Skid Row. I started out in New Jersey. One of those rare bands, by the way, Pantera got their start. Skid Row. That's one of the tours they got on. That's the first time I ever heard of them. Skid Row and Headbangers Ball. And I loved, my favorite album's always the one that was the biggest at the time it come out. Far Beyond Driven. But I knew them before Far Beyond Driven. I knew them with the Cowboys from Hell and all that too. But you know, like I said, they started out touring with Skid Row. But the minute I heard down, 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 but down, 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 but down, 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 bam, 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 I knew that was my band. Bam, 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 bam. But then later on, I even liked one that was even better to me. I mean, I love the whole album. But the other one I really loved was down, 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 down. 5 minutes alone. Just give me. I better quit banging my head. I'll get my back on. 5 minutes alone. And they Planet Caravan on there too, the Black Sabbath cover. Wasn't it at the end of it? I'm having to remember there, but I think it was. I loved that. You know the way it went out? You know the album was so hard. It don't have really many low points in it, but it kind of slows down a bit. Even that's kind of hard. It's kind of like a slow hard, a beautiful slow hard. I believe I'm thinking right. I'll have to get the album back out. I hadn't listened to it in a long time. I think I listened to it back when it was the anniversary, and I'd always do it at 3:33. Because just like his brother, I had a time, and I think it still happens every now and then, where I would look up and see the moment, 3:33, no matter what time or day I was at. And that was after we visited that club, of course. After we went where he died. I would look up and see the clock. I don't know what time it is right now. It's actually 3:44. Is it 3:14? 3:44 or 3:14? 3:44. What about that? We talking about 3:33 at 3:44. It was 10 minutes ago. What about that? That's what I'm talking about. That's what I'm talking about, y'all. That's what I'm talking about. I had this thing where I would look up somewhere around 333, and it would usually be either 332. Paranormal. That's why I have an obsession with paranormal. It's one of my weirder songs, and I had it back then. I just hadn't finished it. In the early 2000s. Just stabbing at the street lights is one of my old ones. The blinds of my windows, but I made more to it. I changed some things about it. More stuff to it. But it was one of those original. How long they will close. Right now that I put out piece of, but now I'm gonna put the full thing out. That's what I'm talking about, y'all. 344. Talking about 333. But I wonder when I started talking about Pantera. Because I'd been talking about Pantera. So I wish I could go back and... But after we come back from that club, and this only started after then. We saw his blood on the floor. We saw the stage and the other blood on the floor where those people have died. You could still see the freaking blood. Now it's housing out of it. Paranormal territory, y'all. Normal territory. You know what? I guess it was always paranormal, even when he killed Abel. Those houses, when those projects get built, it does make a difference. Growing up in a haunted house, I know. And getting the 333 thing, because I never saw Pantera. I saw Vinnie Paul when they played an Atlanta festival. And he had the TSA there. And you know what? I forgave him. You want to know why he had the TSA there? Because his brother's not here. His brother was not there anymore. I had to deal with TSA. I never had to deal with it. I don't go to the airports. And his other friends. I mean, they lost a lot of friends in that. But I'm going to tell you something about them TSA agents there. I'd heard the worst about them. I mean, I was listening to InfoWars, and I was even spreading the articles. And I get in there, they say, go ahead and let him through. Didn't even search me, and I didn't like that. I'm telling you, I didn't really like that. But at the same time, I didn't say no. Let in. I got to see him at Hell Yeah. Ain't that their name? Hell Yeah. I'm thankful for that, y'all. I never got to see Pantera.
Real hard to stay centered here.
She's got a pencil. Yeah, I never got to see Pantera. He was at the club a lot of times because he still didn't have security. He didn't have security when we went to see him. Now, we got there, we was there, we had to travel way ways. So we came to us, we thought there'd be a crowd. So when we got there, we were surprised. And we was just standing there at the dumpster, and he hollered at us. Said, "What you doing out there in the parking lot?" She'd already called him. "Dalton, eh? We'll see if they'll let you in." Well, next thing I know, fighter. He ended up speaking my fighter more than me. Cause like I tell you, I'm clear, but I'm not good at talking. Or so he said. So he said. It's just a ride for the wheelchair. That's what he was. That's what he always held to. He was just there at his eyes. And he was the driver, the guy just helping with the wheelchair. He told him, "I like watching the Grand Ole Opry." And that guy, he goes, "Grand Ole Opry? Oh, Jerry Reed." We all three love Jerry Reed. Not liking rock and roll. But then on his deathbed, now this is true too. My cousin came to visit him. He's telling him, we went and see that Skid Row in Atlanta. And they had an after party where they went to the bar, and me and my mama and my sister and my daddy, all right there in front. And he was honored by telling him. He looked at us and said, "Yeah, he's telling the truth." He just thought he was out of it, you know, because it was about just right before he got where he wouldn't. I mean, he eventually got where you could get a little bit, couldn't really talk with him. That's my favorite rock and roll tale. Because if you know the history of us and me and my sister in 92 and 91, when the other album was out, 91 and 92, I believe it was actually that summer of 92, actually, he told us, "I hate that band, they're corrupting my children." He's sitting down there in Florida. "I hate that band, they're corrupting my children." But then on his deathbed, he was talking about Skid Row. And he was so honored that they put him up there front row. "They're corrupting my..." Of course, it was, "For God's sake, stop beating me to riot, but my brains are still intact. I used to love it. I play it all the time. He was sitting down there in Florida. "That band's corrupting my children." So that story about him being honored about Skid Row on his deathbed, my favorite out of all the concerts, my fighter's tale on the deathbed of being honored by Skid Row is my favorite tale. I'm telling you, when we was young, of course now it's the guy that Skid Row's out with more than anybody he didn't like. He was seeing him, you know, it was Johnny Silinger, which is now gone. Maybe Johnny and my daddy sitting somewhere. Maybe he's went and found him. That's my favorite Skid Row tale. My favorite Skid Row tale. Rock and roll. Because if you know that he didn't like Skid Row, and then you heard him talking, I mean, even my cousin and them, they wouldn't have knew that. Because that's what he said. He said, "I'm going to have to ban this band from my children. They're corrupting my children. I don't want my children listening." Skid Row anyway. I said, "I've been following them since the beginning." I said, "I ain't quitting now." That's what I told him. With them from the beginning. My first CD I ever got. My first experience with a disc was Skid Row. My favorite video was always boy, I got a lot of kicks off that video. You see, I should have just laughed it off instead of getting offended. More people. I don't remember the one I remember the best. They were them Japanese. When it comes to them Japanese people, they love. So they make good video games. They all come from Japan too. I love Japan. So I'd listen to it because, you know, I'd get around them. And I'm talking about the old timers in Georgia and in the South back then. They'd always complain about. I don't remember anyway. I might have did. Now if I had tapes to, I pulled it up here. You was saying I had to stay away from cussing for a while. I tried because but then I started listening to that bad rock and roll and I liked it. I can't swear on the Bible. Of course, there was this one boy one time, but I was going for the ride. He had this name, and one of my friends, my best friend, he would call him top part to the F word. And I went along for the ride and copied him. The friend stuff, you know. Back before I was sort of, I did go up with that guy and sing Highway to Hell, even though I don't really like. I even said bye to him the other night when we was leaving the bar. I need to get him to do it again and do it with me on video, because I didn't do that on video. I wasn't recording. I don't enjoy that song because I don't like singing about going Christian in me. Now there's another song of Hinder's that's similar that I love that song too. Don't act like you don't party, 'cause I've seen you around. That devil expert at music. He knows what he's doing. Because you'll hear these songs and you think they sound well, they sound so good. And then you'll listen to the lyrics and it ain't so good. What a view. I've never seen that view before. I'm going to just take a moment to look at it. Don't act like you don't party, 'cause let me say, yeah, yeah. I smoke, I drink, I lie, I cheat. Damn, I do it well. See you in hell. A day ago, and I realized I was listening to that thing because it was a different. The original Hinder was kind of like a post-grunge thing but I didn't hear that deep. I heard a little bit before the second album come out. I got a copy of the copy. Her real copy. Kind of like, it's one of my favorite albums too. It's a standalone Hinder. All American Nightmare. All American Nightmare. And then Freak Show come after All American Nightmare. The fans some of them liked it, some didn't, and I was one of them that was kind of like aspects of like I listened to that thing all these years. They were coming up on the 10th anniversary of it, and I was listening to that Hinder album this weekend when we was getting ready to go to the Wrestle Gym. I was thinking, boy, this is really a good album. Of course, I did always like some aspects of it, like I said, but it was really better than I thought it was. And I actually tweeted on my totem. I said, well, look, because we was all going through some things back then. I mean, their bands. That was the year they lost Austin Winkler as a singer. We lost them some things that year, in particular that next year. And some of their fans must have been going through some things too, because fans. But I can't credit. I guess they look at the comments that Austin gets, and even the comments the Hinder gets, and Skid Row gets with Bike. Of course, now I think Skid Row. I think some of the fans are saying, "Fuck yeah, this new singer, he gets it down." Different about him lately, the new one. So, and you know, like the Guns N' Roses and the new Guns N' Roses thing. People did that too, of course. But I mean, Hinder was having some things going on those years. We did too. I mean, our family. Both Hinder and our family were both in. I mean, it was like a big black cloud rode over us and them.
I'm not going to say this again. Leave now.
Them years. All that happened. And I think I was my favorites. And there's another one. It's called To Keep Me Away From You. Yeah. But I loved other songs off there too. I mean, but I wasn't feeling it, you know. I didn't feel the album. Like all those other. You know how I judge? You're past the point. You're bad for me. It's much too late, 'cause I can't see in this hotel on the hate. Keep me away from you. Keep me away from you. Run into some marker. Oh, no, 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 no. My favorite off that, though, was a song called Should've Known Better. That was one of my favorites back then. I used to do karaoke versions of it. Did it all the time. It's kind of hard to sing though. I mean, it's upbeat and it's kind of new. It's kind of like that, not new wave, but it's like that the stuff at the time. My favorites back then, even though it wasn't the traditional Hinder. This weekend, I was kind of standalone on their own as well. And there's things that blow me away about those albums. So I'm not just an Austin. He's my favorite singer of this generation. He's my stage influence, because I've seen him 30 times. And the one time on the couch, in the house, and Kurt Cobain and Mustaine. He's my live influence. I never saw Kurt Cobain. And that last time, you know, I was so thrilled. That last time we saw Pat Smear, because he's Nirvana. I accepted him as Nirvana back then. I didn't even know the Germs. I listened to the Germs for the first time the other day. Well, I think I might have some of their music back then. Music, like, so I was skipping through certain of their CDs. I posted one screenshot. I was going through a bunch of them. What I was listening to kind of reminded me a little bit of Courtney Love. Courtney Love definitely was inspired by the Germs. But that year, twice that time, and he played both of them. I thought, yeah. I accepted him immediately. I heard him tell he was from an old band, and I thought, yeah, he's playing with Nirvana. Even though yeah, I accepted Pat Smear and me. You know, some fans, they don't take the yeah, I was, oh boy, I'm getting to see Pat Smear. And I seen him good. They had this rotating stage at one of them shows we went to. And they'd rotate them around every once in a while. People's normal people. Where am I? Growing up, I thought, I got my hands shook by... Later on that night, we got to be on the stage, up there close to the stage with them. And my mama said to him, well, I like y'all's older singer, Bot, because I grew up, my kids listened to y'all when they was kids. But I said, I really love your new singer, Johnny. And they both get beside her and they tell her, we like Johnny too. He's our favorite too. was a whole year of it. 13 and 14 was terrible. So that was, my videos up are from that. I have a few of the Skid Row up. But I got a lot of the Marilyn Manson I seen that night, including Antichrist Superstar, which is always one, I've told y'all, that's one of my favorite songs. A lot of people hate that song. I like that song because actually, a lot of it's already here. That stuff's in place. And people just do what they tell them to do. You do just what they tell you. Repent! We really do need to repent. That's what I'm talking about. You know what? Some of his fans, I'm going to tell y'all something about his fans. I talk with his fans. His fans are sharp people. They kind of got their, they're not asleep like some of these people are asleep. So Marilyn Manson might have been a better influence on your children than you thought he was. He wasn't leading them to Jesus was all. Which does make him a, because you're not supposed to get away from Jesus. But now he wasn't the worst inspiration that you could add on your children. I'm going to tell you, he wasn't the worst. That's up to you to lead them, to direct them towards Jesus. You can't blame another an entertainer for that. If you don't let them go to Jesus and you don't show them Jesus, well then they're not going to see Jesus. Indeed, a lot of them kids, all they saw was religious rejection. And that's the reason they're the way they are anyway. Because they were burned by bad religion. Burned by bad religion. Repent! That's what I'm talking about! Our world does need to repent. We need to repent of a lot of things. And it ain't just sin and the devil. We need to repent from this mentality that we have to just listen to everything they say. Repent! That's why it's one of my favorite songs. That's what I'm talking about! See, I was already awake by the time I got Marilyn Manson. I mean, it wasn't completely. I was already in my early 20s when I discovered him. I wasn't a kid. Repent! In a lot of ways, I'm kind of glad they're that way, though, because them kids were put down pretty bad. He was put down pretty bad. And all you was doing, if anything, when you're taking that kind of attitude, you think you're selling Jesus doing that? You think you're selling Jesus? Well, you know what Jesus would have done? She's by a thing here. And as I know she's a girl and she's got this stuff here, but he went over and he sat by a wall by the well. I can't get her turned right. And he waited for that woman that was like the goddess to the Jewish people. And he stood and he waited, and he was tired and he was thirsty. And I believe the disciples all tried getting him some food or something. If I'm remembering the story right. I don't have a Bible out in front of me right now. But he was waiting by that wall, and this lady, there's no women coming or anything. There's nobody coming. There's water! There's water here, so well, how great. Well, is it water? It may not be. It may be dried up. No, it's dried up. It ain't water. But there's a well, and there's a wall. And this woman comes by, and she gives him water. And he tells her, there's water I can give you that will never run out. And she wanted to know where that water was. And then she told him she was too inferior. And this is my retell of it. This is the Anthony Stone translation, and it's not translated right because I'm going off memory. Oh, there is water. There's water. Let's take her down here where the water's at. There's water. And he was telling her, and I know she's in horrible clothes. I should have put her in better clothes. I didn't know my conversation was going to lead this way. But you know something? I mean, yeah, that's perfect. Because the Jews look down on this girl. She's scarlet. She's red. She would be a whore. And he passed by. I mean, she passed by at the same time. He was sitting there waiting. And you know the story where she drawed the water for him, and he tells her of a water that won't have to be drawed, and finally he gets him into more conversation. She basically pretty much tells him that they don't allow them to worship with them. And he says, well, where I go, when I'm through, they won't be in a, in other words, your body, it won't be in a temple you go to. That's it. I'm not trying to tell the lie, and I'm not trying to change the story any. And if any, you need to go read it for yourself in the Bible, because I'm just giving you a loose remembrance of my brain right now. But he pretty much, there's the water, and there's her, and he's passed. She's drawing the water. We don't see him right now. Lord, that sure would be a miracle, God, if Jesus appeared. He's not going to, because it's a video game. But, and anyway, I wouldn't trust that anyway. That'd be, get back from me, Satan. But the story of he ended up saving all of them. He ended up saving the whole entire community. They really wanted to keep him, but he was on the way to Jerusalem to be crucified. They really wanted to keep him there. It was some Samaritans. He didn't look down on them. He didn't look down on them. Like I say, the first time we seen Marilyn Manson was his first rock concert I ever seen. My mother, she was a cripple. She would use her cane a lot, really back in them days. She only uses it every once in a while now. But she really used it back then. And he grabbed her by the arm. He was this guy, he had his paint all over his face. He had his hair kind of spiked up, sort of like devil's horns on one end. Blind-headed, and he had black hair. He grabbed my mother by the arm and gently, I'm not talking about just rough, I mean, he gently grabbed her. And he walked her down every one of those steps. And she said, why, thank you. You know what I told her? I said, there's a reason he done that. These kids don't have their parents, and you're here with us at this show. That's what I told her. I knew what it was. Them kids, a lot of them, those kids that were painted up and lost kids that y'all thought Marilyn is like my daddy thinking Skid Row was corrupting us, and maybe they did, maybe they didn't. Maybe I corrupted myself. I got a badass attitude, so I might have just corrupted myself, and I thought, yeah, I like that. Hell yeah, that's how I want to be. Maybe I was always bad on my own, because we are bad on our own. We're fallen. We're fallen creatures. A lot of them people thought that Marilyn Manson was corrupting their children. And I'm going to tell you, I speak with the Marilyn Manson people a lot. And they're more awake than some of you dummies. Some of you dummies that have just given into the system all these years. Marilyn Manson might have had a purpose for some of them kids. Keeping them away from that. Not keeping them away from Jesus. Keeping them away from that. And that's a worser devil than any devil you could draw on an album cover. That worship of the system. You see, I was already away from that anyway. I was that when I was a kid. Hell, I rebelled at school. That's why I got in trouble. Marilyn Manson or none of them bands can corrupt me there. I'm sorry against that. I'm going to put you in jail, son. Just for being late? You're going to have me arrested for being late? Yeah, my dad, he's the one my daddy threatened to do things too. I'm gonna have you in jail. You can't put me in jail for being late. Well, try it one more time and just see. Well, no police ever showed up. But they did take me to court and all this other stuff. And I did agree with the judge. That was when my injury happened. I got away from them people, thank the Lord Jesus Christ. He got me away from them devils. He saved me from them devils. There is a worser devil than the devil itself, and it's a devil of servitude to these New World Order people, because that's leading them to the devil in a way. But I mean, I'm telling you, that's a bigger devil than a devil you could draw on an album cover or a song. Even Dave Mustaine was rejecting that in his sinful days, his non-Christian days. There's a bigger devil than any. I mean, I'm gonna use an example. Rob Zombie. He has this big walking devil. It's a show. It's smoke and mirrors. It's a puppet. There's a bigger devil than any kind of devil you could put in a toy or a cartoon or even a big devil that Rob Zombie has on his stage. And it is that servitude to this New World Order system. That's just my knowledge, and I'm sharing it. You see, another thing, people are short-sighted. Now, there's no... It's true. You can't always change the road you're on. You don't always get that choice to change that road. But if you get to live a lifespan, and you get to live, you get to learn, you get to experience, you get to see where you was right in some places, and some places you was wrong. And sometimes you might still be wrong, but you're hoping to improve. In the long run, the bigger danger to Marilyn Manson would have been sitting in a dead church. Sitting in a dead church. Pretending to worship Jesus. Pretending to be Christian-like. Pretending, I don't pretend either. That's why I tell you the truth about me. And I may be the lowest in the kingdom, who knows. But there are worser fates than even an album and a devil cover and a bar and all this other stuff. You could be sitting around in a dead church and still go to hell. And you know, a lot of them dead churches submitted to the authoritarianism. Now, I'm not saying that because you know, Jesus holds you accountable for that. Leading people astray. That's why I don't tell anybody what to do. I just give you my opinion. If you lead people astray, he'll hold you accountable for that. I gotta get off because I gotta get my shower. I spent 105 minutes. I just started going with the roads and talking the communications. My life's experience. I do that a lot sometimes. Boy, she sure has been running. And I ran so far away. She needs some clothes on. Some reason or another I wanted her to be red today. I just ran, I ran so far away. I gotta get away. You also got to remember that the broad road leads to death. So avoid it at all costs possible, even though I'm kind of broad, I'm a narrow broad. Even though I'm broad, too broad, I need to be more narrow. I try to go narrow. I'm looking towards the narrow. But I just hadn't found that road yet. I'm looking towards the narrow road. Still on the broad road, looking towards the narrow road. And I'm just going to have my fate that before I leave this earth, he's going to get me there. A building. I found the building. I'm going to go over and see what this building is before I get out of here. Ammo shop. Too bad that hadn't been a clothes shop. I could have bought her new clothes. I never found that no shop out this far away. I wonder if you can go in it. No, you can't go in that one. Maybe the entrance is somewhere else. Oh, that's the entrance. Boy, she'd be on the bad end that she stole his truck. Well, what do you know? What do you know? Praise the Lord, hallelujah. We'll finally get her some clothes. I'll buy her something she can. She ain't got
Socks.
that much money. Wouldn't mind having her some blue jeans. There we go. We got her some clothes. It's green. I'm looking for something blue. I'm looking for something. That's a Lori Morgan song. Looking for something red. Looking for something blue. Looking for something. I seen her the other day. You know they inducted Keith Whitley in the Hall of Fame. I saw her sharing some videos. She sounds just like she always did. But I'm telling you, I didn't necessarily per se listen to her the whole time. But my parents did. And they used to see both her and Keith
What the hell?
on TV, on that Nashville network,
Oh, crap.
all the time. My daddy was a Keith Whitley fan. He'd always tell me, put some Keith Whitley on. And me, I wasn't a real big Keith Whitley fan. I like some of his stuff. My daddy, he loved him. But I'll tell you something strange, and this is really strange. It was right before my mother's birthday and Mother's Day. We was at Turnbuckle. And the guy that runs it was doing karaoke. And I thought, it started playing. He said, oh, I'm going to do this song. He just started singing. And I thought, Ah, man, I wish I'd taped it. Because I just started playing, I'm telling you. It just started playing. He just started singing with it. And I thought, ah, man, I wish I'd taped that. Because I'm telling you, it just started playing. And I thought about it was right before her birthday and right before Mother's Day. I kind of see them as a second family anyway, so. Which is really strange. That's one thing him and my daddy have in common. They both like country music. And they both... Now, he would have had some issues with my daddy. In particularly a certain word that his whole entire family don't like. And I don't blame him, because it's a good thing to have. But my daddy and them, he has a lot in common with my fighter. I finally got the police on her butt. I finally got the police on her butt. My daddy loved Elvis radio. I've heard he loves Elvis radio. I've heard that from his two boys. And my daddy had another thing in common with him. I've heard them say that he likes conversation. If you know my daddy, he would get into these things where we would go to family reunions. And boy, they would talk all night. There's this one time he went to one of my uncles and aunt's house. And we were leaving. It going on 5 a.m. in the morning. And me and my sister, we got tired a long time ago. We went out in the car. She went in the back seat and I went in the front seat. And she was laying back there half asleep. Me, I was just sitting there twitching with the radio on low. Because it was late at night, you know. It was like going on 4 a.m. And I always play with the radio, so I got the key. I got it from my daddy. He gave it to me because he knew I wasn't going to. I'd already learned my lesson about that when I was a baby, and I smashed that 72. So he knew I wasn't going to do anything. He knew it. He'd always loan me the key anytime I wanted to go out in the car and lay down or go play with the radio. We were still out there a good 40 minutes after we went outside, so it was we had to go in about 3-something in the car, and we was leaving at about 4. Oh boy, she's ranking up! She's almost ranking up! Come on, man, let me rank up. Can't drive these big vehicles. My daddy, I heard him say that all his life, though. Of course, now, his brother actually told me one time, and this is exactly what he told me. And I always stuck by it. And I know I shouldn't just take people's, but that's how I always lived by. Like, you know the GD word? And my uncle told me, he said, you know what this guy kept saying? And he was doing it not in a good way. He was like, he was saying Jesus' name over and over again, and he wasn't doing it in a way like an appraisal way or thanking Jesus or anything. He was really doing the stuff, and he said it 2 or 3 times. The guy that was in MASH, but it was a movie. I don't think it was MASH. Rigged up! And he's just doing, you know, they do it in this game sometimes with the Jesus stuff. And he got up. He was angry. He jumped up out of the chair. He got up and turned it over. He said, Philip! Because, you know, I went by Philip back then. That's where I got on the Anthony kick. You heard what he was doing. And you hear it from your daddy, and you hear it a lot of times, the Jesus thing. But he said, you know what I hate more than anything? He said, because there is all kinds of guides. This is how he said it. Buddha's a guide. Even Satan calls himself a guide. But you know what I hate more than anything? Is when people use the Lord's name in vain. I've never forgotten that. I said, he said it. I said, I say it sometimes. Your daddy says it more than me. But they said, one thing I hate more than anything is when they actually take the Lord's name in vain. He said, because you could have any guide, but there's only one Jesus. That's what he told me. I'm kind of glad, because I was going to answer him. It stuck with me. And I even repeated it about a year later. This kid at school, and he actually went and told the teacher, LOL, or laugh out loud, or whatever he said. He said, you know, that's for the LOL thing. But he went laughing. He went laughing at me. And he went to the teacher and he said, he's actually telling me I'm taking the Lord's name in vain. That teacher told me, there ain't nothing wrong with saying Jesus' name. There may not be. But it is when it's used in a certain way. And I'm not talking about a good way. I'm talking about the bad way. And that boy was doing the bad way, just like that movie. There's a good way to use that name, and then there's a bad way to use that name. At the end of the day, it's probably the same thing, and that probably is true. I'm just telling you. I got a kick where I on a kick where I was using it for a while too, but I got away from that. Because I got to listening to Rodney around that time. I got away from it. My daddy always used it. Pre-COVID, by the way, and I'm glad I got to see that. I'm glad God let me run into him right when he let me run into him. I seen him the year before COVID. And I seen him the year after COVID, right after COVID. And I loved him even more after COVID. I knew what God was doing. I knew a God had sent a pastor my way that I could really appreciate. Because I don't like cucks to the system. Because we're not called to. It says render under Caesar's what's Caesar's. Render under God and what's God's. But you also got to remember, in the United States of America, you got to remember who Caesar is and who the servants are. We don't have to serve the servants, as the Nirvana song goes. The servants are supposed to serve us. See, that's the difference between our government and every other government on the face of this planet. We weren't under a king. They want to reverse that thing. They want to flip that thing around on its ass and have us serve even agencies that we don't even really owe any allegiance to. Bureaucrats that we don't owe any allegiance to. We don't owe nothing to them either. When they take that job, they're not our kings and leaders. They're our public servants. They don't like that. They don't like being told that. They hate that term. That's calling them a racial term when you call them a public servant. Because that's why they staged January 6th. That's why they did all this garbage. It's because they don't really have the authority. You know, Caesar had the authority. See, that's the difference between them and Caesar. Caesar had the authority. And that's where all these churches that go along with everything they're told to do get it wrong. When I seen Rodney and another guy named Jonathan Shuttlesworth and others in his family, they did the same thing. That was worthy of my honor. Stick with those churches. Because we are not their servants. We don't have to serve them. They are the public servant. They only have been told that. And we really don't owe the CDC and all them anything. Or especially the UN. Or the EU. We can basically flip them a big finger. We don't owe them anything at all. Indeed, if anything, they should be playing by our rules. Our money pays for them, for them people. They should be playing by our rules, not their rules. We shouldn't be playing by their rules. They should be playing by our rules. And if they don't want to be playing by our rules, then they don't take our money. They don't take our taxpayers' dollars. And then we can quit paying for them, and then they can sit out there and take care of themselves. And if I was
What
in
up,
charge,
wussy? I saw you racing. Not bad, but it's time to move out of the blue chips into something more volatile. Up the risk, up the gain. You feel me? I'm talking parachuting. San Andreas is full of totally rad jump spots, so crank it up a notch. Dominator out.
Dominator out. I finally took his call. I gotta get her home, though. Wonder if I can get her home. Oh, I just have to cheat and take the taxi. Car's slow. I don't know how I'm gonna sleep in this inferno. It's hot in here. It's like I said, hell awaits. Hold on just a second. I'll come back. My switch flew out for a second, my TV. I don't know how I'm gonna sleep in this hellhole. It is hot tonight. I think I'm just gonna have to tough down, get this boxing thing out of the front of my window over here. I got this, the bottom half. I took the top half off a week or two, a few weeks back when I moved some things. I gotta take the bottom part out, get this tape and junk off this window that I've got around the sides, and put my new air conditioner in. But this one just ain't cutting it. It's like a oven in here tonight. Of course, I'm playing this game player and that little thing pumps out heat. It may cool down in here as soon as I turn it off. We'll see. It's been on 124 minutes now, plus 40. Oh yeah, 40 of that though was because I just stayed on the same stream, so. Pack your bags and move to the city. Find a better car, let's get it. Maybe she won't have to run from the cops. So if she does, she will. If she has to, she'll have to. Because I am getting another car. That thing drives too fucking freaking slow. Packerwood. Yeah, I didn't really listen to Lori Morgan and them from the beginning, but my parents did. And I did hear her on the TV. I mean, I didn't watch it. Sometimes I'd be laying down and in the floor, I'd hear in the background that Nashville channel. Me just laying down when I was downstairs. We had an upstairs and downstairs. A lot of times I was upstairs. But I would hear them. She fell. I thought I'd try it. Now I gotta try to get her back on the path of home. Right like the wind. Do, 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 do. Dude, what did I make a big mistake? Do, 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 do. May just have to pull off and get her a taxi. We shall see. Is that the hospital? That's the hospital. That's the horspital, was my granddaddy that I never knew. He's been buried in 74, so I was 75. I was born in 75, so I never knew him. I heard a lot about him. The hospital. Okay. You didn't like doctors and hospitals. That's probably where I get my distrust from. Probably inherited from granddaddy that I never knew. My other granddaddy was a mystery to us. My mama never knew what he did. You see, he was one of the behind-the-scenes men in World War II. The ones they'd send behind the lines that Alex Jones reported. Those people became the CIA. So he was a different type of work. Now he didn't trust stuff either. Indeed, my mama never was, and she used to get mad about it at the time. She wasn't allowed to be a part of the Girl Scouts and all this other stuff. And my dad and my granddaddy was always picky about the Freemasons. Even my daddy had that. He had that too, by the way. He didn't like the Freemasons and all that stuff. But now my mama, she was actually raised up to avoid all that stuff. Because my granddaddy, I never knew him either. I met him a couple times, but I never knew him. My mama, she didn't like him too well, so she kept us away from him. She made the choice not to have him in our lives. So I never got to know him. Yeah, she made the decision not to have him a part of our lives, but I met him several times. One at school, he would do the gas for the town. That must have been somewhat true about what she told me about what he did. Because I'm going to tell you something strange. The governor at the time is visiting my school. And he walked up to me and told me, "Your grandfather." He knew, somehow or another, he knew that was my grandfather. He was a good man, he told me. I said, "That's not what my mama said." And he gave me this look. He gave me this strange look. He got out of his car. He had a security with him, and they were opening the doors and getting him out. He walked up to me for some reason, and he told me, "Your grandfather was a great man," or something like that. A good man. But Mama never knew what he did. He didn't talk with us, or her mama and her brother at the time. You know, now the good thing about him, I'm gonna tell y'all. You know, I bring up my brother-in-law, my uncle, not brother-in-law, my uncle, and I bring him up a lot. He died similar to the circumstances of Kurt Cobain, where there's a big conspiracy about it. He never gave up trying to find out what happened to him. We found this after her half-sister died. She didn't have nothing to do with her either much. She didn't have nothing to do with him either. I mean her either. So she didn't have nothing to do with him. She didn't have nothing to do with her.
Hello?
They had both been trying to find out what happened. And I told her, I said, well, I said, ain't it something? When we found this out, I told her, ain't it something? He never did even want to lay eyes on her. But yet, she tried to find out what happened to him her whole entire life. I mean, that was one of the things that her brother had told her and her mother right before he got killed. Or whatever happened to him. He said, I never want to lay eyes
call
on
to
her.
Morse Mutual, and we will
Well, he didn't have
replace
to
any
lay eyes
vehicle
on
that
her.
is fully insured with us. Hassle-free. Morse Mutual Insurance is sold at participating garages.
Gotta be careful what you
See
say
website for
sometimes.
terms, conditions, and exceptions.
That's what he said. He said he never wanted to lay eyes on her. He ended up going out and getting killed. Something happened to him. We don't know what happened. But I'm telling you, her grandfather never gave up.
I've got to get my old paintings out of storage.
And I mean, my grandfather never gave up. Her daddy. My grandfather. I'm tired. I'm getting tired. And she never gave up. I told her, I said, you should have really not cut her out because of him. Well, I know, she said. That's what she told me.
Not so good. I know.
See, she just, when her daddy divorced her mama, she cut him off, and she cut him off. And she didn't even let us have anything to do with him. I seen him 2 times in my life. One at school,
You're a disaster.
and I might have seen him a 3rd time. I'm not sure about the 3rd time. I think I seen him before in Ather. We came home from school one day, and there's a guy putting in gas. He was real nice to us. He talked to us the whole time he was there. He's putting in our gas heater. And the minute he leaves, my daddy come running up the steps. He'd never done that before. He had a big grin on his face. He said, son, y'all just, you know that man that was here putting in the heater? That's your grandfather.
Oh, you're that junkie, mama.
Some ways he must have not agreed with her cutting us out of his life, because he did that. See, I would have never knew. If he had never told me, I would have never knew.
Watch out! Hey, thanks for the call back.
It's one of those moments I never forgot. Then I seen him at the school. But I think I seen him before. He was doing some work at the school. I seen him after that. He spoke to me again. It was just brief then. He spoke to us that whole day, that when he was here putting in the gas. He must have not agreed with her, but he didn't get involved. That's all I'm thinking. Because he run up here, and I'll never forget that big grin on his face. But I did eventually tell my mother, I said, you probably shouldn't have cut her out over him. She might have shouldn't have cut him out, you never know. But she did.
What? Who gave you asshole? I'm on 285 last week.
She did. But they never gave up trying to find out. And we actually had one of them tell us what happened. But then he recanted the story when we had the investigation open. But right before her half-sister died, or right after she died, she actually prepared it before she died. We got it at her. Her documents and everything showing where they tried to find what happened to him. They never gave up trying to solve his death. Never.
Hello there. Hey, buddy.
Never. You know who does know? God and Jesus. God the Father, the Son, the Holy Ghost. What I mean by similar circumstances is some of them boys tried to holler he committed suicide. They conflicted all their stories. They all conflicted. Every one of them. Everything they told the police. But now the one that claimed to be his friend, guess what he was doing? Right before he turned up dead. He was saving up money to buy him a car. A new car, my uncle. Guess who happened to buy him a new car just right after my uncle died? The best friend that was accused. So what does that tell you? But now they all conflicted, so we never knew the story, and even when one told us what happened, he recanted. When the prosecutors got involved and all that, then finally he started, well, they're all old men anyway. Well, you know they don't never let the old Jew killers off. You let them come up, them Nazis. Don't ever let them off. That was his final excuse when she was mad about the story being recanted. He said, well, you know they are old anyway. Yeah, like, oh, that just mad. Oh, they're just old. Just let them get by with it. Oh, her brother didn't matter. Simon, whether he got murdered or not, didn't matter. It mattered to our family. But I will take it that one day there will be a solver to the crime, and his name will be Jesus. He'll tell us what happened. Now I can't go in the house because of them. I'm just going to get shot in the area, and then I'll let them shoot me, and then I'll run my way back home. Because I'm at home right now. There we go. King Jesus will let us know one day. Mama was hoping it'd be before she died. And she was heartbroken when that thing told her all that stuff and then recanted. And she told me, well, I guess I probably won't find out before I die. Or told us. And just tell it to me.
Cock-sucking asshole. Hey, excuse me? You're a terrible...
I told her, I think you did find out. I think you just lied about it. That's what I told her. See, you still don't know because he was freaking lying. He freaking lied.
Oh no!
Liars are liars. You can't pay attention to them. And when he recanted his story, he lied. He just didn't think she'd do that. That's what it was. He thought it'd been years. He's going to get it off his conscience. And then when he thought that we was going to turn him in, he changed his mind. Now the good news is the one that supposedly done it's finally croaked. And he couldn't have been that nice because they didn't write a nice... His thing in the paper was short and sweet. So he couldn't have been that good of a dude. Well, you know she's near home. I felt like this on my way home. I'm not scared. He couldn't have been that good of a person, because usually they even have better writings than that. I didn't cry a tear over him, though. I never knew him anyway, but I didn't shed no tears. And then I thought, finally, maybe he's going to get justice. Or she's going to get the police on her for getting this car. She really needs to earn a living today. She didn't earn one. We'll find out. That could be. It was an accident and all this other stuff, and God knows that. And I've always left that in there. I've always left it up to him, because he's the final judge on everything. He sees everything. But at the same time, the way my brain thinks, so that's why I'm glad I'm not God, because I'm not perfect. I just leave it all to God. I didn't see that car for whatever reason. I'm tired. Let's see which one. I think it's the next level. We'll be tore up by the time I get it there. Get out of the way, fatty. Oh, I went the wrong way. Dang, blame it. That old vehicle messed me up. Now I don't even know if I'm going up right or not. Once I get messed up, I get messed up. I can usually find it. Oh, there's the gym, so. Let's see. There's the gym, so let me go back one. Let's just go back up. And I'll come back down. Okay, now there's the second apartment, the first apartment she lives in, which is the second to that one. So we're going to go back up. We're going to come down from here. And it's around here somewhere. Then you go by to the purple gym. The purple gym. There's the purple gym. Pinky purple looking. And then you get over here and you turn. That's it. There it is. Her one-stop shop to make her living as a thief.
What brings you in today?
Her one-stop shop to make a living as a thief. Los Santos Customs. She made $3,000 off of it. Not that bad. Spent $1,000 on clothes, so she's still short $1,000. And with that, ladies and gentlemen, we'll get her home. I need to go out from the sign. Where's the sign? Which one's the sign? As I go out with a sign, it's easier to find. If I go with a sign, it's easier to find. I just got to remember which way to turn is all. Do I go this way? For some reason my brain ain't working right. I think I need to go the other way. Let's see. Let's look up and down. Let's go the other way. I think it'll work better the other way. Why did I not remember which way to get home? I felt like this on my way home. I'm not scared. I pass boats on my kingdom. Oh yeah, that's this way. I'm not scared. I felt this on my way home. I'm not scared.
No, sir.
I
My name's not
pass
Brad
boats on my kingdom.
For Christ's sake.
I'm not scared. Here we go. I felt like this on my way
All need
home.
to place tonight.
I'm
I
not
hear you.
scared. Oh hell. Hell for.
Got these tickets to the Benders game today.
I tell you what. Hell for. I think I'm going right now. I tell you what. What time is it right now? 5 o'clock? I'm being like Dracula today. By the time I'll be closing my coffin at 6 a.m. Be closing my coffin at 6 a.m. by the time I get out. And I'm still lost. Somehow or another I've gotten lost. Even though I've done it. Oh, here we go. Why, thank you, Jesus. Thank you, Jesus. When I try to run away. I felt like this on my way home. I'm not scared. I pass boats on my kingdom. I never did fully understand what that meant. I need to listen to the lyrics one more time and try to figure it out. I mean, you don't have to know what a song means. I like to study the meanings of the song. Okay, let's just give her a shower. I got her drunk. Dang it, I got her drunk. I don't like how the world looks through drunken eyes. When I try to run away, I felt like this on my way home. I'm not scared. This has been the longest gaming session I've done in a long time. I didn't even really feel like it. I just got lost in my conversation, but at least I ranked her up. That's what I'm after more than anything. When I try to run away. Boats in my kingdom. I'm not scared. Oh, it's so hot. So hot, Lord. It's raining and it's making it humid. I hate heat. I hate too extreme cold, and I hate too extreme heat. But I ain't one of these crazy people that panics about it. Global warming, global cooling, ah! I need to start working on another song again. I've got 4 recorded. Gotta start that project when I wake up. Go through some of my lyrics, maybe even make some up along the way. I do that too. When I'm doing songs, I'll write them down and put them on paper. But then I add to them as I go along. Some of them I add to for years and years and years and stack lyric upon lyric upon lyric. I like it that way though. I like it that way. I don't do it for a living anyway, so I'm just creating to paint. That's my form of painting. Creating whatever I create. When I try to run away. The problem with everything though is everything has been said before. Marilyn Manson, I said a lyrical to that. Everything has been said before. Nothing left to say anymore. You can ask for it by name. Rebel, rebel, bitch, bitch, babble, babble, party, party, sex, sex, and don't forget the violence. Love, lie, lovey, dovey. Everybody sing along. Are you motherfuckers ready for the new shit? This is the time before the number minute. I can't remember what it goes. This is the new shit. Stand up and play. I got the you know who. I got the you know what. I got the you know why. And I don't care. I got the woo. I got the you know what. I don't really give a care. Everything has been said before, and nothing left to say anymore. You can ask for it by name. This is the new shit. Stand up and play. I got that, and Ride the Lightning, and a few other albums at that same time back then. I'd never had Ride the Lightning before. Boy, I loved it when I got it. This guy in the chat room. He would always go on about Ride the Lightning, Ride the Lightning. So I decided to try Ride the Lightning. I had some Metallica albums. I just didn't have that Metallica album. And I was missing something, because Ride the Lightning is a good album. I can't believe I didn't have it before. That was silly waiting to 2003 to hear Ride the Lightning. Silliest thing I ever did. Well, I heard some of the songs off of it. I'm not ignorant, completely ignorant. I did hear the songs off of it, but I didn't hear the full album. When I got that album and I put that in that summer, I thought, yeah, that is it. He would go by the name Blood Python. When I got Ride the Lightning, it's also the year Saint Anger come out. Now, a lot of Metallica fans didn't like Saint Anger. I love Saint Anger, especially Invisible Kid. Saint Anger around my neck, Saint Anger around my neck. He never gets respect. Saint Anger around my... Flush it out, flush it out. Anger around my neck. He never gets respect. Saint Anger around my neck. Fuck it all and no regrets. I live my life with these nice sense. Labor do around my neck. I let myself go free. Fuck it all, fucking no regrets. I'll see y'all next time. As she gets her some shut-eye. And I need some too. Me and her's been up all night. So, I don't think it was every night when she was she. Yes, she was out a little bit of the night. I remember. I hear my world shake like an earthquake. Mad in anger with you. I'm mad in anger with you. I don't really know what happened to Mr. Blood. That's been 20 something years ago now. All that. F it off. I mean, fuck it off. Fucking no regrets. I should still program myself to do the elf. But sometimes I just want to be rock and roll. I'll see y'all next time.
Hey, holla at me, y'all. Peace.
Holla, holla.